Hey, welcome to the Raising Mothers podcast. I'm your host, Ashley Kahn. I'm a wife, mama to two, and a certified conscious parent coach practitioner. It is my mission to raise mothers to transform their mind, soul, and family. Sis, you are not here by accident. If you are here, it means you're ready to heal inner wounds, detach from deeply rooted thoughts and beliefs, recognize the root beneath behaviors, deeply connect with your child, love the child in front of you, become the mother you dream of, the mother you were created to be, and the mother your children need. Let's get started. Welcome back to the Raising Mothers podcast on the series of raising confident children and the characteristics and habits that confident children embody. Today, we are back with Meg O'Keeffe, which I'm so excited to have her back. Today is episode number 17 of a 20-episode series, and today we are focusing on the E in confidence, which stands for extends empathy. And what that means is how confident children embody this ability to extend empathy to others. There is this quote that I absolutely love by Brené Brown. Big fan of hers. I absolutely love her. And the quote is this: empathy is the skill or ability to tap into our own experiences in order to connect with an experience someone is relating to us. Compassion is the willingness to be open to this process. I absolutely love that because confident children are able to separate their own feelings and emotions with other people's and allow or create this environment for other people to be able to process and feel what they're feeling, and the confident child be able to let them have that experience without taking anything personal to them or having any judgments on that. Meg, what comes up for you?
I was thinking that same thing, like having that discernment so that so empathy and compassion come from discernment, and discernment is kind of the opposite of judgment, right? So it's attuning, right? It's an attunement to yourself so that it allows everyone else to be able to be who they are, right? So it normalizes the experience of whatever is happening in the moment. Yes. And that comes from validation. I think that when we are with our child and they are going through something, how we can mirror empathy and compassion to our children is to validate what they're feeling. There are no bad feelings, right? This is something I've really been working through. Yes. And so what validation looks like is your child is crying because they weren't invited to go to their friend's house. Well, instead of saying, you were just at her house last week, there's no need to be worried. Don't worry, you're going to go to her house another time, blah, 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 where we are trying to fix the problem, trying to make our children feel different than what they're feeling. It's going to the opposite and saying, letting your child tell you what they're experiencing and saying, that is so understandable. Anyone would feel that way. That normalizes what they're experiencing. Yeah. You might think it's silly that your child is having this feeling of being left out, excluded, ignored. All these things could be happening. That might seem silly to us, but if your child is telling you this feeling, it is not silly to them.
Right.
So it's normalizing that what they're having, what is happening through them and coming through them is all good, no matter what it is. Yes. Their child, when they feel that from us, this is empathy from us. This is attunement to our child. And this is the most powerful tool because it will help them to discern and be able to come from that as well.
Yes, I love that. And, as you were talking, I was just thinking about how crucial empathy is in relationships, and having that empathy component, whether it's between the parent-child, like you were saying, and I love how you brought that up, because at the end of the day, empathy is taught by us modeling empathy towards our child, because the way that we interact with our child is how then they'll react or interact with their friends, relationships down the road, relationships with teachers, whatever it may be. And having this component of empathy in a relationship really creates an environment for really healthy communication and for healthy boundaries as well, and emotions. I love everything you just said. That was so powerful.
Connection, what you're just saying, when you feel seen and you feel heard and understood, validated,
Mhm.
you are open to connect.
Yes.
When we're disregarding what our child is feeling, or the other, like you're saying, it doesn't have to be just our child.
Hmm.
Then the other person is going to close down, put the walls up, because they don't feel there's shame, there's criticism, there's humiliation, there's rejection, embarrassment, all those things that they start putting those walls up, and that disconnection is lost. And, I'm sure people who you have met through life that you can feel that they're not available.
Yeah.
Feel they're not open. And it's because no one has ever wondered what they're going through or
Mhm.
accepted them for what they're going through.
Yes.
Um, Oftentimes I know, like on social media, oh my gosh, that's so silly that person is feeling that way. We're disregarding what their experience is. And that's not coming from empathy and
Yeah.
compassion.
Yes, and I love how you said we're not acknowledging what their experience is, because at the end of the day, confident children are able to extend this empathy because they realize everyone is allowed to have their own experience, and it's no reflection on who they are as a person. If it's a conflict with their friend and their one friend is experiencing something, that's okay. They can have that experience, and I think it's so crucial, like you were saying, in the connection and in the relationship, because at the end of the day, life happens, conflicts are going to happen. And if we can model for our children to honor other people's experiences, it makes the interaction more healthy and both parties can move forward in a really healthy way.
Right. And you said something a little bit earlier about, empathy and compassion are beautiful qualities, and to have and to share with others, with that, all of the things we talked about. But you also mentioned boundaries, right?
Mhm, mhm.
So it doesn't mean, your child can come up and just blast you with, whatever, or you allow a partner to do that, or to treat you in a way that is not, even though you can be empathetic to how they're feeling, it doesn't mean that they can, treat you in a way that's not respectful, or not, even though they're having big feelings, right? So how can you do that? How can you hold that boundary with them, and maybe saying something to your child or your partner, like, I can understand that you're having this experience, these big feelings, you're angry, you're frustrated, you're upset, and I want to be here for you, but I need you to have for you to take a little bit of time to compose yourself first. So I want to be here for you. That's a very empathetic thing, but
Mhm.
we need, once you have some composure, then you can come back. All
Yes.
right. And that is a very loving thing to say, to someone, because that out of control feeling that we get when all those, negative, what we've categorized as negative feelings, right? Of anger, which are normal human emotions. We oftentimes also have to have the empathy to hold the boundary, right?
Yes, that is so crucial that you mentioned boundaries. I love that. I'm so happy that you brought that up.
Yeah, it's a critical component, because, empathy and compassion sounds so, oh, whatever, you have your experience. Yes, we want to accept people for who they are, but that harsh, negative, expression
Mhm, mhm.
is something that we have to be responsible for in our own self, right? So, we have to be clear that those feelings are okay. They're normal. We're not going to have that happen here in this living room right now.
Yep.
right? Or whatever, however you say that, I'm willing to be here with you. But once you are in composure, have some composure. So I think it's an important thing to teach people and help, your children especially, and practice yourself to know that I am the only one who's responsible for what my expression is. And I am allowed to feel this way, but I'm not allowed to just, unleash on people.
Yeah.
That's borderline on abusive, right?
Yep.
There's a fine line that we need to balance all the time.
Yep, absolutely. That is so crucial to implement those boundaries and for, our children to learn to implement those boundaries also with others when they're, uh, in connection with somebody else and they're expressing some things to be able to know what's healthy and what's not healthy and be able to put that boundary down is really, really a healthy thing to learn to do. And it is a skill because I think most of us don't know how to lay those boundaries, especially when we are, being empathetic. But it is very important to our overall well-being also to set that boundary.
Right. I mean, people who are naturally empathetic have that reflected to them sometimes. Where are you going to hold that boundary? I know, your child that's what they're asking you throughout their development is, where are you going to contain me? I am, I think we have misnomers or whatever about what being empathetic and loving is sometimes, especially some of the personalities of some of us, is we do need to hold that container for our child to know where the edge is, and they're going to continue to push on that.
Yes.
So I think that as a parent myself, I thought, oh, when I've told them what my boundary is, but they keep coming to it and even crossing it. And I think it's what we've talked about, I think the last time, is consistency. It's exhausting sometimes because they will continue to try to cross it. So it's not that there's not one answer that fits every situation, right?
Yes, exactly. Yes. Three things that, confident children do to extend empathy. So they acknowledge that everyone has their own experience and they are free to have them. And then, like you mentioned, Meg, number two, when we have empathy for others, it is also very important to make sure that we have some boundaries around that for what's a healthy way to be in connection with somebody. And then number three, consistently modeling it for our children. What that looks like is how they then will build this confidence within them to be able to show empathy towards others. Nick, do you have any other thoughts on empathy?
Yeah, I just want more time to talk about validation, because I do think that a child who does feel understood, even when we have to hold a boundary with them, allowing them to really feel that we understand at whatever level we can. We are trying to understand them. I guess it's not even about us understanding them. It's about that their situation is understandable. Right. Because it's normal. There's nothing that your child is going through that isn't normal. Even there's some extreme cases that it's just, we need allowing them to feel validated by knowing that their experiences, whatever they're experiencing, is okay. I think that will be the first step to them accepting a boundary, or at least being open to a boundary, being set later once they feel that you've validated them.
I love that. Yes, thank you for sharing that. Well, it was so awesome to have you back. Thanks again for joining us. Tell people where they can find you.
Well, thanks, Ashley. It's been great. This 3-part series, your 20-part series, has been really just always so fun to be with you and to be sharing this passion that we both have of conscious parenting. I am a Montessori, have a large Montessori background, and Montessori and conscious parenting are really one and the same. And I can be found at heartcenteredparent.com. I offer coaching, one-on-one coaching. I offer courses and workshops, and it's always a pleasure to be on podcast with you, Ashley. It's a joy for me.
Well, I enjoy it just as much, and I'm so happy that I can share you with everybody else. So thank you again.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and we will chat again later. I am literally so excited that you took the time to hang out with me in this space, and I would absolutely love to connect with you more. You can find me over on Instagram at ashleycon.co. That's ASHLEYKAHN.co, or visit me on my website at ashleycon.co. If this episode spoke to your soul and you know some mama friends that could use it, screenshot this episode, tag us on Instagram, and share it with everyone who needs it. Love what you heard? It would absolutely mean the world to me if you left a 5-star review. Okay, mama, this is just the beginning.